Hello and welcome back. This is In the Know, brought to you by the Racing Post and Coral for the final time this week, ahead of day 5 of Royal Ascot. My name is Ross Brierley. Tomorrow, if you've struggled this week, it doesn't get a great deal easier. We've got sprints aplenty. The Hardwicke switching into its Saturday position might well give you a bit of fun and games with some middle distance group horses to rub your hands together with glee. But a lot of people will be getting stuck into the Wokingham big field sprint handicap. Or, of course, the Group 1 over 6 furlongs as well. We've got the Chesham in there as well to throw in more two-year-old action. Have we seen a good one finally today? That is the question as we reflect on the fourth day as well before we get stuck in with Fairy Godmother. Deciding I might go through the middle, I might just wait until the final furlong, switch out like a Maserati and slam down the accelerator to score in good style in the Albany. If the two-year-olds aren't very good, we've been saying now the sprinters aren't very good, so it took a miler to win the big sprint today in the shape of Inner Sherin, and he did it very well indeed. The Guineas form, the 1,000 Guineas form, was given a boost by Porter Fortuna, again another Royal Ascot horse, and my word, I think the most impressive winner today was a French raider in the shape of I've completely forgotten his name now. Calandagan, that was the one. It was the one we struggled to say last night, who ate up the ground in fantastic fashion to make it 3 on the bounce. And good stuff indeed. We had some impressive performances, and I'm sure they've shaken up some opinions going on to the rest of the season. Have we seen a Guineas winner in the first? Have we seen a July Cup winner in the shape of Inner Sherin? Have we seen a King George winner or an Arc winner in Calandagan? The man to my left is shaking his head as if we haven't seen anything of note today. But let's see what Paul Kealy thought. It was.
He's a gelding for starters, so he can't win the Arc.
Oh, of course he can't. Yes,
that's what I'm saying. No.
That's why you're shaking. Fair enough. Yeah. Can they not glue him back on?
I think he might win the King George. I mean, my bet of the day was in that race, and Space Legends, he beat the West Pointless and run into a proper Group 1 horse, isn't he? I wouldn't be surprised if he has the highest RPR of the entire meeting. I mean, that was very, very good, wasn't it?
It was. It was. It was an Aga Khan middle distance horse of old. It felt like.
Yeah. I mean, it just looked completely different class, and it didn't look a bad field on paper, did it? Going into it, but he's absolutely destroyed them. So yeah, very, very good horse. Inner Sherin was very good. Fairy Godmother might be very good. It just depends on what she's beaten, really, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But she looked good the way she had to come around and pick up.
Even if she hasn't beaten much, she's got an engine and a half, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. But other than that, we've had some hard handicaps, some hot favourites getting beaten in them. A couple of gambles went astray. Kitty Rose.
That was an odd one, wasn't it?
Off the boards, that was under top weight. She actually ran pretty well, finishing 5th. I've had a couple of horses run well at big prices, but not do enough to squeeze into the frame. Another blank day. It reminds me of Cheltenham a few years ago when I had to wait till the very last race to have something to shout about. But yeah, we got another day to go, so we go to war once more.
We do indeed. Performance of the day for you, Tom?
Inner Sherin for me. Inner Sherin. I like Inner Sherin because I'm going to say it again. It sums up what I think about British racing. He's a proper bred horse that's bred to be very good over different trips, and he bashed up all the rubbish sprinters that we have in this country. So I was really pleased to see him win. Thought he was outstanding. He was clearly miles better than the rest. Fairy Godmother obviously looked impressive, but like Kealy said, I thought, what was it, 9-2 for the Guineas or something? That's ridiculous, isn't it?
Oh, she's 9-2 to turn up, isn't she?
Well, if she does turn up, she's 9-2 to be right, isn't she? Judging by Aidan O'Brien's past few exploits in it. Listen, she was good. She was good, wasn't she? But the time wasn't exceptional. She did well to win, of course she did. But I don't know. We'll see. I'm sure there'll be plenty stiffer tasks later in the season. As you said, the French horse was very good. There's sometimes these Ascot mile-and-a-half races. Do you remember when the Highclere horse won the King George? I can't remember what it was called. It ran the
Harbinger.
Harbinger. He was like £15 better than he ever been before and after. And sometimes these Ascot races just do that, don't they? They make horses look brilliant when maybe they're not quite as good. They have done nothing
I mean, I haven't done obviously I haven't done the time properly yet, but he dipped under standard. He was fast by 0.6 seconds. No other race today dipped under standard.
Harbinger broke the clock, though, didn't he? He was like, got a time form rating of like 130 or something ridiculous that you'd never seen before. And listen,
he never got the chance, though, did he? He never got a chance
to
back it up, did he?
No, he probably didn't. But it's unlikely that he ever would have, because it was such a brilliant performance. I just think sometimes at Ascot, these I don't know why it is, but on that round track, sometimes they can look better than they are. But I'm not taking anything away from him. I thought he was.
I was going to say, let's give him a before we say he's not as good as he looked. Let's give him a chance to prove it first.
Oh yeah. I'm not. I never. To be honest, I never said that. But I'm just saying that sometimes they can look better than they are. Crystal Black impressed me quite a bit, actually.
Yeah, that was a cracking ride. That was ride of the day for me, Tom. I mean, navigating that draw in that fashion to win another race when unproven at the trip was pretty impressive, I thought.
I agree entirely. I thought that was the ride of the day from by a mile. He's a top class rider, Colin Kealy. Don't know why everyone isn't clamouring to use him when Royal Ascot comes around. They should be. Thought that was an exceptional ride and an exceptional performance from a very, very good horse that keeps winning, isn't he? A mile and a quarter, mile and a half. He can win group races over a mile and a half. That's for sure.
Well, I think the reason they're not clamouring to use him is because before that win, he was 0 from 56 at Ascot. So it was actually his first win at the track, I think. So
Ross, you always dampen my enthusiasm for things. 0 from 56. He's exceptionally good wherever he rides, I think.
Yeah, no, I'm saying, but I think he got pelters, didn't he, for Westover, didn't he?
Westover, yeah.
And I think ever since then, that's been the sign over him a bit. Oh, he's an absolutely fantastic jockey. But this again, this proves how hard it is at Ascot. It's hard to. We keep saying it's hard to find a winner. It's hard to breed a winner. It's hard to train a winner. It's hard to ride a winner. You can.
Hard to tip a winner.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean, you must...
Hard to tip a place.
Think of the Sandringham, right? I mean, Hector Crouch on Indelible. I mean, he's beat that side by half the track, only to run into 3 horses coming down the other side. Indelible's drawn 4. She'll be a group horse in time, and she's finished 4th.
I still think Alice A should have won that side.
Well, yeah, I mean, she had to go back past 3 or 4 horses, didn't she? Saving that last race, that 6:15 at Ascot, Pilgrim, Blue Storm, no half measures, Wonder all on their own side. So it's really, really difficult to win at Ascot, which is why Ascot form comes to the fore time and time again. Porta Fortuna, Soprano, they were both placed, winner and placed at the festival last year.
Good point as before you arrived, Ross, is saying that the difference between now and maybe 5 years ago is that the jockeys now are riding as though they know they can win from any side, and so therefore it's making it even harder because now they're winning all over the track, aren't they? So you can't even narrow it down to any side.
The problem is we can blame ourselves for moaning about it continuously, and they finally listened, and it's made it even harder.
Yeah,
I will say that, and I was talking about it before the meeting today. I talked about it briefly last night, but I was talking about it to Keith, and again, you can spend ages, you can watch replays, you can look at things. That was unlucky, that was on the wrong side. Fairy Godmother won on her last start. Inner Sharon won on his last start. Porta Fortuna, second in the Guineas, beaten on the line in her last start. Crystal Black won on his last start. Soprano, third on her last start. Calandagan won. Pilgrim won. Every winner today was either a winner or placed in a good race last time out. And they're so competitive that your unlucky horses or your wrong side horses, the horses that find a way to win or get into the mix, Tom, they do it again, and then they do it again, and the unlucky horses are unlucky again.
Did you look to see how many horses in the entire day had been in the first 3 last time out?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Well, I went through, actually, and there was very, very... For each handicap, I think there was between 10 and 12. And bearing in mind there's like 30 runners, you're immediately narrowing it down. There's a lot of if, buts and maybes go on. And, for example, in the Commonwealth Cup, the winners last time out were Inner Sharon, Jassor, Kind of Blue, Evade, Starlust, Pandora's Gift. And, if you narrow it down to 6, and the first, third and fourth are in there. I'm not saying it's just simply following it. I'm just saying that you can spend a lot of time thinking, that might reverse the form. And in these big races, it doesn't happen that often.
No, that's true. That's true. I mean, I agree with you. I think the thing about Ascot is that best horse often wins, doesn't it? And you're always trying to find something slightly different. I mean, obviously, there's times when the horses are on the wrong side and whatever, but the horses on their side tend to win. I mean, I tipped and backed Porta Fortuna to win the Guineas and Rosalian to win the Guineas. It's just the way the world goes, isn't it? They didn't win those days, but they proved to be the best horse. That's just what happens in horse racing. You've just got to be on the right one at the right time. But I do agree with you that recent form is a very good thing to have on your side in these big field races.
Yeah. Like I said, I know that's oversimplifying it slightly, but it's you can spend ages making cases for horses only to run into one that's gone up £6. Well, it's won again, goes up another £6, wins again, keeps improving. Anyway, John Hill joining us tonight to get into the mix, into the debate, into the wade straight into the arguments. Anything you'd like to contribute?
No, I think the boys have summed it up well. Inisherin for me was the one that stood out, and once he hit the front, you always knew he was never going to get caught, was he? Obviously, he had his race over much further before, so the stamina was there. I do like horses that drop back in distance to sprint, and have that little extra stamina behind them. So yeah, Inisherin for me, very good mother, as you say, 4-1. For the 1,000 Guineas next year, very, very short, isn't she? It's a policy of mine not to touch anything in single digits when it's that far away, but plenty of interest in there. And in terms of how the week's gone so far, it's probably about level, I'd say, with regards to the bookmakers versus the punters. Obviously, the first two favourites obliged today, and the bookmakers were running worried, but they got a few results to end the day just to level the score, I think, going into tomorrow.
Like some punters must have won a fortune then.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean,
Jesus Christ, I've not had a worse one.
Oh, fair enough. Well,
there we go.
It's all right. It's all right, Keels. It's
plenty of time.
There's tomorrow, mate. There's tomorrow.
There isn't. 20% of it, 80% of it's gone.
No, fair enough. I've gone all wistful now.
I was going to say.
Don't worry, get on with it.
Okay,
I'm not feeling sorry for myself for long. We're going to crack on and get stuck in again.
You've got till the end of this advert, Keels, to feel sorry for yourself, all right? And then we're cracking on.
Okay.
Okay, let's go. Right. Before we get stuck into it, John, over to you first. We've got some time-sensitive price boosts for tonight's show.
Yeah, we have indeed. Yeah, we will touch on the time-sensitive first. The first is a double, Queenstown or Dawn. Sorry, it isn't a double, actually. It's the complete opposite. It's two horses for the one here. Queenstown or Dawn Rising in the final race. It may well be the saviour for Paul this year, if you could find the winner of the Queen Alexandra. Queenstown or Dawn Rising would be 11-10 if you're backing those two horses on your side. We're pushing that out to 6-4 for the next hour or so, and that's £10 max. And then Bedtime Story, the opening race tomorrow, the Chesham Stakes, to win by over a length. Ryan Moore and obviously Aidan O'Brien have had a fantastic week. That would be 3-1, but we're pushing that out to 4-1, as I say, for the next hour.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Hill. Let's go to the Chesham, shall we? 7 furlongs the distance for this 2-year-old contest, and Bedtime Story is 15-8. Age of Gold 7-2. Pentle Bay 9-1. Motawahij is 12-1. Duke of Monmouth 14s. Expensive Rose 16s. 18 Defence Missile and 20-1 Lazy Griff. And it's bigger price as the rest then here. And again, normally, we say the 2-year-olds haven't been that good this year. This is usually the weakest 2-year-old race of the entire week. So let's see if we can get something that'll put us to shame in that regard this year. Again, top heavy, and again top heavy with a Ballydoyle horse in the shape of Bedtime Story. Pretty much every single renewal of the Chesham, there is a Godolphin favourite who has been nominated almost as it crosses the line in its novice or maiden, Keels. That's the one for the Chesham. And to be fair, they're not that wrong that often.
Did you say Godolphin or Ballydoyle? I'm sure you said Godolphin.
Did I say Godolphin? Yeah, I meant to say Ballydoyle. Like I said, it
yes,
has been a long week, mate.
I think they've got 5 winners since 2009 or something, 4 seconds. They're always the ones that are fancied. So yeah, there's plenty to like about Bedtime Story. She's won extremely well. She's incredibly well bred. By the very fast sprinter Mecca's Angel, but out of Frankel, and she did it very, very well. First time up. So did Age of Gold. Nothing's run a massive figure again going into the race. I mean, you want to be running over 100 to be winning this, and apart from last year, which was an absolutely terrible race as well. So they've all got to improve. It's not going to surprise you if Ryan Moore wins this. It's not going to surprise you if he wins nearly every race tomorrow. He's going to have the bookies running for cover, isn't he? This is the thing. He's got so many favourites, so many well-fancied and well-backed horses. It could be interesting to see what price they go off later in the day if he gets on a roll. And Bedtime Story looks the most likely winner. But there's so little to go on. You feel like you're having a crack at something, don't you?
Yeah.
So I've, for what it's worth, I've had a couple of quid on Defence Missile by a French Derby and Arc winner, second running on. The winner that day was on the stand side, came up on his own pretty much on the stand side and won quite easily. But he stuck it out well. At 6 furlongs at Newry would have been way short enough for him. So I thought he might run well, but it's like you said, it's a 2-year-old race and it's a total guess.
Yeah, I mean, again, there's only a handful of 7 furlong 2-year-old races run at all this season, Tom. So there's tons of these that are going to improve for the trip again. But you're a pedigrees man, and there must be 2 or 3 in here that stand out as potential 7 furlong listed class juveniles. What are on the list?
Yeah, I mean, you say it's not the best race at the best 2-year-old race at the thing. You had a Derby winner running this, you had Churchill running this, you had the champion 2-year-old Pinatugu running this, all in recent years.
You get, I guess you occasionally get a very good winner, and then it's sort of you might get a good winner, and then the others turn up.
Nassar got beaten in it and went on to win the Derby. I mean, I just think it's I like it as a race, always have done. Because I think this is where, I'm boring everyone silly, but I think as soon as you get to 7 furlongs, pedigrees take over and proper horses get involved. And surprisingly, the 2 best bred horses are Bedtime Story and Age of Gold. Only thing I'd say about Bedtime Story is her sister, Content, came into this race last year and got lapped. Whether that's anything to go by, I don't know, but she did. She ran in the race last year. Age of Gold was very impressive, I thought. Was it at Yarmouth?
Yeah.
By Frankel. I could see him going well, but I thought there were a couple. Listen, one of them will probably win. Long odds on that one of them win, isn't it? They tend to. The ones I was looking at a big price, if I was sort of playing the exactas or those silly exotic games, which they do, is a horse called Brian.
Yeah.
I thought ran really well behind a horse that ran 4th in the Coventry the other day. Sylvester Kirk had a horse run 2nd or 3rd in this at 80-1. Not that long, a couple of years ago.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, wasn't that the horse who then came out? And then he ran in
Seattle something
behind
Jeff
Battleground.
It ran across the track. It looked like it was going to win, and then it flashed its tail and ran across the track.
Seattle Rock, 80-1 in 2020. Yeah.
I thought he could run well, and being a bit of a Ulysses fan, I thought David Evans' horse Chili Breeze could run. He beat the Woodcut winner, and he beat him easily at Nottingham on his 2nd run. TJ or TJ or something, TJ or whatever it's called. He beat him easily, and he's obviously going to stay 7 furlongs being by Ulysses. So I thought those were a couple of horses that could run well. But I expect one of the top 2 to win.
I was going to say, you like your pedigrees. What sort of pedigree has Brian got?
I know.
He's got 6 grand.
Yeah.
I don't know. Shaman is his first season. He was very well bred.
Yeah.
Wait to see what it goes. But then look, David Evans has got the Ulysses, so I'm going to look the part and see him. Otherwise, he'd have gone for a few more quid than he did. But the chances are one of the top 2 win, isn't it? Pental Bay, I suppose, has got a chance. Finch Bay, but I don't know. As Kealy says, it's a guess. And also, you got 3 unraced horses in this. We had an unraced winner 2 years ago.
We did.
Holloway Bay, the Ammo Racing horse cost a few quid at the Breeze Ups. Run well, perhaps. But look, I'll leave this to the pros. Bedtime Story or Age of Gold, take a pick.
Okay, fair enough. But you thought Brian may win. Is that what you're saying?
No, I don't think Brian will win.
No, I didn't say he will win. I said Brian may win. I said Brian may win.
Yeah.
And you'll be blessed. You'll be blessed if he does.
Yeah, he's probably more likely to be a snail.
Yeah. Okay. So Brian may win, but you're not saying Brian Wilson.
No.
Right. Okay. Good. Fair enough. I've backed Moon Sniper in this for William Muir and Chris Grassick. Absolutely lapped on debut on soft ground, but there was a Sandown race the other day on fast ground. Now, there was the final Galileo sold at public auction that cost £1 million in Royal Officer. There was a Gosden horse who'd run really well on debut at Yarmouth. There were Hannon newcomers. There were other Gosden newcomers. There were Balding newcomers who were from the family of Goldacova. There were loads of horses, and the winner was Dividend at 50-1, who was behind Symbol of Honour the other day, who ran really well. Back in second was Moon Sniper at 50-1. Made the run in, kept going really, really well. But he's by Sea the Moon, and the dam is called Improve. Now, her dam also produced Persuasive, who's a Royal Ascot winner, Creative Force, who's a Royal Ascot winner, Tis But a Dream, who's an Ascot winner. So I back Moon Sniper at 33-1 for the Muirs and Grassicks of this world. So there you go.
Fair enough.
Why not? John, what did you think?
Well, I've actually backed Chilly Breeze, just like Keels was saying there. I spoke to David Probert this morning to do his Coral blog, and he was quite sweet on his chances. And you can get an upset in this race, can't you? You've already mentioned Holloway Bay winning 2 years ago. I think Snullen won the race last year around the 14-1 mark. So, I think if there's a race to take on the top of the market, this could be it. Tomorrow, but you're quite right. Ryan Moore is going to be the man that the bookmakers will fear with that card he's got. We've got a special for you here right now. If you think that Ryan Moore will ride 3 or more winners tomorrow, it would be 11-4. We're pushing that out to 100-30. So if you think it's going to be a good day for Ryan Moore, that could be for you, that special there. And I do love a Ballydoyle versus a Godolphin battle, and obviously the front two are dominated by those suits, aren't they, tomorrow? And who knows? In that final furlong, they could be battling it out for first place.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's have a look. Right, that's the Cheshire. Moving on then to the Hardwicke Stakes, shall we? And we have 9 runners here. Speaking of Harbinger, earlier in his career, could we see another wildly impressive winner on fast ground in this race that often throws up a nice horse? Continuous is 7-4, market leader. Middle Earth 9-4. Desert Hero is 6-1. Missed the Cut 10s. Isle of Jura 11s. Candleford 12s. Goliath 25s. Crypto Force is the 40-1 shot. We've also got Elegant Man in there as well. But coming off the back of an absence is Continuous, who was last seen running a bit of a blinder in the Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe. Before that, of course, he'd won the Ledger. Before that, he dotted up on fast ground at York. So he was one of last year's premier 3-year-olds, Tom. He's 7-4 to make a winning return under Ryan Moore. And yeah, I guess if we see one truly exciting horse win tomorrow, it could well be Continuous if he continues that improvement from last year.
100%. Yeah, he could be the best older horse Ballydoyle have, and they've got August Rodin and Luxembourg, haven't they? But he won the St. Ledger easily. Excuse me, he won the Voltiger, didn't he? Easily. He was a bit unlucky in the Arc, finished 5th. He's a really, really potentially top class horse. Just whether he's going to be right for tomorrow, isn't it? I mean, we've seen all season long Aidan O'Brien's horses running first time out, running moderately at best, some of them much worse than that, and then taking huge steps forward. This is obviously, we're in the end of June now, so he said Continuous has been away for a couple of runs. It might not be an issue at all, but he's going to have a long, hard season, Continuous. He's going to be going to Arcs and Breeders' Cups and maybe Japan Cups and all those sort of things. So I doubt very much if he's going to be cherry ripe for tomorrow, and therefore, at 7-4, I could try and take him on. Obviously, Middle Earth's quite interesting. I think he's actually quite short price on what he's actually achieved. He was 16 lengths behind Continuous in the St. Ledger. The form of his Newbury win is okay, and he did well to win, but I'm not sure it makes him a 9-4 shot. That by any stretch of the imagination. Desert Hero was downright disappointing there. The two I liked were previous winners at Royal Ascot. Missed the cut, the American train missed the cut, but the one I like most is Candleford, who is an absolute Ascot weapon as far as I can see. He was one of those horses that just literally looked like a superstar over a mile and a half when he won the handicap here a couple of years back. Won by 6 or 7 lengths, could have won by 27 lengths, and then came back here for the what was it called, Cumberland Lodge last year, and I thought he was desperately unlucky not to beat Hamish. And that was on soft ground. He didn't like soft ground. What he wants is fast ground. I think he's got every chance of running really well, Candleford. He'll stay really well. He's drawn on the outside, which I like. He'll finish off, provided there's a pace to run at, which there should be. He'd be my choice, Candleford against the Fab, 2 at the top.
My only worry, I agree with you, and I looked earlier on and said, why is Candleford 20-1, and now it's 12-1 because of, I presume, your fine self. But my only concern, Mr. Segal, was that the other Haggis, Desert Hero, probably wants a good clip. And Candleford made the run-in last time out. Is there a worry that Candleford does that again? Because if he does, I don't fancy him at all.
Oh, it's a big race. I can't believe the Barnane stud are going to sacrifice their chance of a Group 2 win at Royal Ascot for another. I would be surprised if that was the case. No,
I wasn't necessarily suggesting that he would be the pacemaker for Desert Hero, but just if you've got 2 horses in and they made the run, they won from the front last time out. Yeah. I just worry they might repeat those tactics. But
that's the case. Obviously, his chance lessens, but at 20-1, I don't know what tactics they're going to use. I don't even know. I can't even tell what the time is, let alone what tactics William Haggis is going to use. So, listen, it's possible. It's possible if he makes the running. Obviously, his chances lessen, but I don't think they will. They know how he runs around Ascot. I think he can go at a big place, that's for sure.
Okay, fair enough. The other one that Tom mentioned is a horse called Mr. Cut, who won the Golden Gates handicap, I think, by about 4,000 lengths, or at least it felt like it. He was so impressive, and that feels like a lifetime ago.
It does, yeah. I'd almost forgotten him until I looked at the race, and there he was staring up at me. Yeah, he won it. He won by 4 1/4 lengths. He could have, gone round again. He looked fantastic that day. He won 13 or 8 to beat Mostadaf in 2003 in a one massive money race in Riyadh. Didn't run to his best there, finished a distant 4th, but that's the last time he's run a bad race on fast turf, and he's been in the form of his life in America. He won 2 Grade 3s back to back, and then he split 2 of Charlie Appleby's at Keeneland last time, and the winner Silver Knot has come out and run a massive career best since. It makes it look good form by the standards of American turf racing anyway. I just think he's got to be considered. He's one of those horses, it cannot be fast enough for him. I'm sure that's why they sent him to America in the first place. So he'll love it. See the case for Candleford, definitely. Don't see him make the run-in. Haven't the Ammo Rags both made the run-in in the past, don't they? Yeah. Elegant Man, Crypto Force.
Yeah, it was just that was the only worry in the back of my mind.
Yeah, I wouldn't see that. I mean, the thing is, look, we all know if Continuous is hard fit, and that is very best, then he'll win.
Yeah,
but 7-4 to find that out.
I think he's a bigger price of 7-4 to be hard fit.
Yeah,
and that's the thing, because like I said, he's got bigger fish to fry later in the season. If he can win, they'll let him win. You know what I mean? But he's not. I don't think he's going to be given a really hard race if he's under it.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean. And I'd be tempted, even though he's the best horse in the race. I'd be tempted to lay him for a place, because I could easily see him saying, right, he can't win, and then just ease off him a little bit,
Yeah.
Because this is not his target.
No, absolutely not. And they've had a good week, but they've had a good week with horses who've come on massively for their debuts.
Absolutely, and I definitely wouldn't rule out Desert Hero, by the way, because that's 2 years on the spin.
Yeah.
He's run terrible at Newbury, and it didn't stop him winning the big handicap here last year. And he did look like he may be an improved horse at Sandown, because that was easily his best run at 10 furlongs, which isn't far enough. So I wouldn't, it's a deep enough contest. If you're looking at the favourite and you think, well, maybe he's not quite ready, and maybe they're not going to be too hard on him, that you might be able to sneak this one out of the frame.
Okay. Continuous.
Can I ask you a question? Does he agree with me about Middle Earth being ridiculously short?
Yeah, I think I like him, because he picked up really well that day, and he had no right to get up. So I think he's probably better than that result, and I think he likes fast ground. So I think his Ledger run is a write-off. I wouldn't worry about that at all. I don't think he should be quite so short. I wouldn't make him any bigger than 7-2 myself. You know what I mean? I think he's 2-1, 9-4 is a bit on the short side for me, but I wouldn't be really keen to lay him either.
I think crucially, since he stepped up to 1.5 miles, he's won 4 of his 5 races. The one time he was beaten out of sight was in the Ledger, but that was in soft ground. So on good ground, over middle distance, he's unbeaten, gets better every single run. And we were saying earlier, just right at the top of the show, horses who win races. Desert Hero might improve, and he probably will. Continuous might well come back first time out, but the one fit horse on a roll is Middle Earth.
Ooh, I think that's harsh. What about Arla Jura and Continuous?
The 2 fit horses on a roll are Middle Earth and Isle of Jura.
And Continuous. He was good last time.
The 3... Never mind. John Hill, step in, please.
Yeah, I think he's going to be a popular favourite tomorrow. Is Continuous. I think certainly if the first O'Brien horse comes in, many people will be back in those doubles, trebles and accas across the afternoon. So, I think he's going to be a 1-1 favourite. But just great to see him in training as a 4-year-old, isn't it? We see so many good horses, classic winners, call it a day at the end of the 3-year-old campaign. So, great that Continuous stays in training. And who knows, another shot at the Arc in October. He could be going there with City of Troy, a strong O'Brien team. And if he produces his best there, he'll be in the mix again, I think.
Okay, thank you very much. Big shout out to Frizzy Red, who is napping Desert Hero, and Tom Leach and James Day are both going for Middle Earth. And James Day says brilliant last time running down King of Conquest, who is very good himself. Right, that's the Hardwicke then, the QE2, not the QE2. It's not this is the name changing consistently is starting to pick up my brain. The Queen Elizabeth II Jubilee Stakes, of course, 6 furlong. Let's just say the Royal Ascot 6 furlong Group 1, shall we? 14 of them lining up here, and we of course had an impressive winner of the Commonwealth Cup today, and I think if Inish Sherrin was in this field, he'd give him a right old beating probably, wouldn't he? But Millstream is 5-1, Kinross 11-2, Mitbahi 6-1, Believing 13-2, Shartash is 7s, The Wizard of Eyes 10-1, Should Have Been a Ring is 11s, and Swing Along 14s. Other old favourites in here, the likes of Quinault, Jumbie, Vadream, and of course Cardam, who popped up last year at 80-1, looking like the horse I thought he was for the 3 years before when I backed him blind pretty much every time he ran. But Dream of Dreams was 7 years old when he won this. Blue Point was 5 years old. The Tin Man, Slade Power. We've had horses who've aged into themselves and then won this race impressively. And I've had a couple of people talking up the likes of Art Power to me. And given the nature of this race, it wouldn't entirely surprise me to see that happen, Paul Kealy. However, we do have an improving 4-year-old at the top of the betting in the shape of Millstream.
Absolutely. This is a wide open Cork and Orrery Stakes, isn't it?
Quite, yeah.
I mean, there's an awful lot to like about Millstream, isn't it? He's improved a lot for us last year. He was running behind Quinault. We're giving him tons of weight. Quinault's in the race himself, and he's just improved again this season. And he did in his 2 runs, and he's won the Duke of York last time. End of the day, he's there's 4 horses within inches of each other at York. But he was strong at the line, so you'd imagine Ascot had suited, stiffer Ascot had suited him well. You can easily make a case for him, but you can make a case for everything, can't you? I think.
Yeah.
I mean, the ones I'm not that keen on would be Art Power. I think only one of his top 15 runs of his life's a bit on fast ground. And Kinross, who has tons of fast ground form, but not 6 furlongs. And I think he's been rushed off his feet the last 2 times he's run in this first time out. And I think he's one of those. He might be 7-1 now, but I think he'll be a double-figure price tomorrow because he'll have bigger fish to fry for himself. I know this is a Group 1, but this is his starting point.
Yeah, and he is a horse who gets better as the season progresses.
He gets better as the season goes on, and he's a tool on soft ground at 6 furlong, but not on fast ground.
Yeah.
And he's a tool on fast ground at 7 furlongs as well.
I mean, they're probably just copy and paste last year's campaign, weren't they?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it'll be that sort of thing, and he'll definitely win a couple of races, and we'll be singing his praises again because he's a great little horse, isn't he?
Yeah.
So yeah, you can make cases for pretty much everything. I can see the case for Mitbahi. Believing was finishing strongly in the King Charles III. I came down, I started looking at it, I kept looking back, and then we're talking about horses that run well at Ascot.
Yeah.
And I thought I just want to take a chance on one, given there's extra places and there's a big price. And suddenly Swing Along caught my eye. Now she was a pretty good filly at 2. She won the Lowther. The Connections tried to extend her to a mile last year, and she ran on bottomless ground in the French Guineas and came nowhere. But then she came out at 66 to 1 and ran third to Kealy, making most of the run in, and she didn't give up, even though she got caught and passed by Kealy and Little Big Bear. And then she carried on to progress. She won a Group 3 at York again, and she was 4th at Haydock to regional in a sprint cup, and then 4th to Art Power on soft ground, which I don't think is what she really wants, in the champion sprint. So therefore she's finished in the top 4 twice in Group 1 races at Ascot on over 6 furlongs. And I quite like the way she went through the early stages and the way she battled on before dropping out the last 50 or 60 yards in the Duke of York. Yes, she was beaten 5 lengths or so in the end, but she wouldn't have been beaten anywhere near that far, half a furlong out. She's going to come on for that. I thought I'd give her a little shot each way in what was a wide open race.
I mean, and crucially as well, we're saying about again the sprinters, they do get better with age, and she's been running blind as a 2-year-old, as a 3-year-old. People say, well, she'll have to improve to win this, but there's no reason why she won't improve to win.
She will obviously have to improve to win this. I don't think she's far off a place.
Yeah.
Anyway, on her best form, and like I said, she's shown she can do it here, and she can roll along and she can keep going. So I thought she might beat some of these off.
Okay. I mean, there are.
And she's Cole Burke as well, who's having a great week.
Yeah. So they are loads of cases for loads of them, including Swing Along, as Paul has just made. I had quite a few on the list, but then I watched Believing run the other day at over 5 furlongs. She switched out. She was kind of in the wrong part of the track on her own, and I saw the really good 5 furlong horses rattle past her on the near side, Tom, but she was gaining again at the line. I thought she was really interesting. She's off the back of that run again. How many years ago, if a horse had run like that in the King's Stand, they'd have been smashed into favouritism for this?
Yeah, possibly. It's not a great race. I don't like Millstream that much, as Kealy said. There was a short head between about 4 of them, and Diligent Harry got that the other day. I don't know. I don't think that was a great race at York, so I'd be against him. I think he's quite short. Kinross, as Kealy says, is just had plenty of trap shots at this type of race and on fast ground and not won it. Mitbahi was impressive last time. He's going to get Spencered as well, isn't he? Which is always a good thing. I thought he gave that 2-year-old a brilliant ride, simmering today. Nearly got that one home. Believing's definitely on the short list. I was on Shartash originally from a long way out. I think he's bound to run well. I like the fact that Swing Along's in there on his side because he'll have something to chase. But I ended up fancying the Wizard of Eye, and I think he's going to run a massive race. He hasn't run over 6 furlongs since 2021, believe it or not. But I was massively taken with the way he travelled through the Victoria Cup. He should have won that by miles. He did win it in the end, but I think dropping back to 6 furlongs off a strong pace, he's got Washington Heights to chase and things, and that's going to suit him really nicely. Obviously, he's got the Ascot form too. As I always say, horses dropping back in trip in 6 furlong races, they're rubbish. You want something that can stay a bit further and pick them up. I think Wizard of Eye is just that type.
Will it be a bit of a culture shock for him, Tom?
I don't think so. If you're good, you're good.
Yeah, I was just looking. He hasn't run over that trip for ages and ages and ages. And I was just having a look at sectionals for past sprints and all that. And I remember when Shaquille fell out of the traps last year, he still ran the first furlong 10 lengths faster than Wizard of Eye ran the first furlong of the Victoria Cup. And it just worries me if he's just going to be, crikey, what am I doing here? I did like him at first. And then I sort of went off him. I mean, I'm probably, paralysis.
I think you're over.
Yeah, I think
talking yourself out of it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But he did only win a handicap of 92.
Yeah, but
99. Sorry.
I do know what you mean. But again, I mean, the flip side of that is Naval Crown was a 7 furlong horse, won this. Dream of Dreams was a 7 furlong horse, won this. Merchant Navy was a 7 furlong horse.
Everyone was saying the same about Inisherin. Everyone was saying the same.
What were they rated when they ran in this? They were rated 102.
No, I know, but I'm counterpointing your counterpoint, so it's probably even. I think. I know what you mean. And
it's possible, isn't it? It's possible.
Of course it's possible.
He's in tremendous form at the moment. He's gone to a new trainer who's very, very good at these type of horses. I admit, I think he's got a chance, but I agree. The price is a weird one.
Price is what puts me off. Well, Ryan Moore's affected that, hasn't he? And it'll only get shorter if he wins the first two.
I think he'll start 6 or 7 to 1 myself.
Well, he will do if Ryan Moore wins the first 2 races.
Well, yeah. Actually, that's just explained the price, hasn't it?
Yeah.
That's explained the price.
It's nothing to do with that, is it?
I think it might be. I think personally, I think the overnight or the day before markets, they're defensive towards the accumulators, so he could go either way. But anyway, it's 5 to 1 the field with Millstream in there. John Hill talked to us about this 345, and I don't know. Have you had the Ryan Moore ACCA?
No, I certainly haven't, but the plenty will be on that ACCA. Look, the good news is there's no Australian horses in the race, is there? So, they just dominate these sprints, don't they, as we saw on Tuesday. They're just so much better than our sprinters over there. And, Spurrier not deciding to go for the double to join the likes of Blue Point and Swazier. So, the British and Irish will have it between them here. Believing is the one I like, though. Obviously, did run on Tuesday, was staying on strongly. I think she's better over 6 furlongs, actually. She's won over this distance before, and 7 to 1. I thought she should be a little bit short on the betting, Ross.
Yeah, I agree. I thought she had a bit of a cracker the other day, and she's got plenty of 6 furlong form, so she would be my pick here at 13 to 2. As for everyone at home, Robert Ballard is going for Shartash. Washington Heights is interesting for a couple as well. And what else have we got? Washington Heights looks interesting. Maybe ready for the top flight again. I mean, another horse who just runs his face off in these races, doesn't he? And he was a little bit isolated at York down the Middleton near side. So anything could win it, but that's a group sprint at Ascot, as we have seen. 5 to 1 the field though, with Millstream at the top of the betting. We have the Jersey up next, 425, 7 furlong Group 3, and the usual array of Jersey horses. Those who didn't quite make it to the level of a Guineas, those who are too slow for the sprints, those who've won a listed race and are stepping up in grade, and probably everything else in between as well. 20 of them this year, and of course last year's renewal of the Jersey blew everyone out of the water, and the TriCast paid about $3.5 million. It was that unfindable. But River Tiber's 13 to 8 favourite this year. Hartum is 3 to 1. Task Force 7 to 1. Never So Brave 10 to 1. 16 to 1 Night Raider and Evan Shaddad. 18 to 1 Boiling Point. 20 to 1 Native American, and bigger prices the rest. Come to you for this first, Tom Segal. I used to do all right in the Jersey with horses, not necessarily like River Tiber, but similar-ish types who had run really well in Group 1 company, had been quite well beaten, but found this a lot easier. But the market is a little bit cleverer, I think, about this race these days. You used to get your 3-length handicap winners and your 4-length listed winners coming into this and being 7 to 4, but it's flipped on its head.
Well, it's a very good race, isn't it? Sometimes it's not a good race. I disagree with you about the fact that you say that none of these they're too slow for sprints. I think the first 7 in the market there would have probably finished second in the Commonwealth Cup today, in my opinion.
Well, I didn't say they were too slow for sprints. I said you get your usual array. You get your mileage dropping down. You get your horses who run in sprints, and the owners go, actually, we're not that quick for that. Let's go.
Tom wants a fight today, doesn't
I know. It's getting...
What I'm saying is that I think this race is miles better than this is only a Group 3.
Oh, yes, it is. Yeah.
It's in the Group 1 Commonwealth Cup, isn't it? You've got properly horses in this.
Yeah.
You've got Guineas second, the Irish Guineas second, the Irish Guineas third. You've got Task Force, who was second in the middle part. Never So Brave, who looked incredibly impressive in the handicap. Night Raider, who everyone was talking about as the Guineas horse. Evan Shaddad, who was third in the Dewhurst. It's a properly good race, this. All of those you can give a shout to. River Tiber is obviously the one that everyone's going to latch onto after his as Keels. I don't know what you described it as the other night, Keels, but it's sort of an easy set, not overly aggressive ride when third in the Irish 2000 Guineas last time. He's obviously going to come on, but we said the same about Opera Singer. And while she did come on, I didn't think she came on as much as they thought she was going to do. So listen, he's the form horse, but is he the form horse? Hartem's the form horse, but he's got the £3 penalty, hasn't he, which makes life difficult. I could see Task Force running really well myself. I liked it last year. I never thought he really liked Newmarket, truth be told. He kept running at Newmarket, and he kept running good races. He kept sort of floundering, going down in the dip. He's like Frankel, isn't he? And out of his winner as well, is he? Or something? Yeah, but I think he's going to run really well. Rafe Beckett's had a very good run this week with his 3-year-olds, especially. He's won a few of the hand. He had loads of horses have run well. I could see Task Force running well at the prices there, but I do, obviously, River Tiber could be exceptional on his Breeders' Cup win. And I remember reading, it was quite interesting. He said, Aidan O'Brien said during the winter, he said, the one thing about River Tiber is we never had him right last season. He was never right in the Pre-Morney. He was wrong in the Middle Park when he finished behind Task Force. And he's come back a totally different species this year. So if that's the case, and Aidan is quite prone to some hyperbole, then 13-8 will be a good price, but I don't know. I prefer Task Force. You beat him in the Middle Park. I think you can beat him again.
Yeah, I mean, I really wanted to disagree with you, Tom. I really wanted to keep on fighting, but I mean, it's always a good race. It's always a good race because of that mix of horses. I mean, you've had really good horses get beat in this, and you've had really good horses win in this. I mean, obviously, Expert Eye won this. Space Blues was beaten in this, wasn't he, a few years ago? Audience was battered out of sight last year and won the Lockinge this year. So, yeah, it's a really, really good contest. River Tiber is 30-8. Obviously, Rosalian's given that form a boost, and we know how much the Ballydoyle horses come on for the run, Keels, but you wanted to back this at 25-1 over a mile, and he's 13-8.
I'd have happily backed him at 8-1 for the St James's Palace because I thought he was that eye catching. We only got 3 taps with a whip in the Irish Guineas, and the other 2 had 6 and 7 between them, and he was only beating a length of the bit. I think that's a cracking piece of form. I think he is going to come on for it. How much he comes on for it is another matter. I mean, I thought he stayed the mile perfectly well. And he'll easily go back up to a mile. They obviously thought Henry Longfellow was the better horse, and it's no disgrace if he was because he nearly won earlier in the week. I think he's the most likely winner, but from being prepared to back a horse as an outsider, then backing it at a short price against 18 other rivals, it's just not for me. I just don't do it. So I can't have him. I nearly jumped ship, and I nearly, like Tom, I nearly tipped Task Force. But I mean, he was 12-1 this morning, and every time I looked, he kept shortening again and again and again, and I don't know. He's as short as you want to go now, isn't he? I think, So I think River Tiber's most likely winner. I shall sit it out from a punting perspective.
Yeah, Task Force. I mean, Beckett's horses were also really.
Yeah, I mean, I tipped and backed Task Force for the Guineas. I thought he'd run really well, and he was not remotely disgraced because he was very keen early.
Yeah.
And it just didn't suit him, and he is a keen goer. And like Tom said, he does. He looks a bit gangly at Newmarket, didn't he? He did that even when he finished second in the Middle Park. So I mean, he could easily improve.
Well, I mean, he's similar to Lake Forest today, who ran a blinder. I mean, that horse had run 3 times at Newmarket, had run well, but not seemed to enjoy it. And Task Force is similar, I think. He's like Lake Forest, unbeaten on his other 2 starts away from Newmarket, and a straight mile should be on fast ground. Given his pedigree, he's absolutely spot on, isn't it? A couple of other horses, though. One race that really has a good record in this is the race won by Boiling Point. Fast ground, too darn hot. This track worried me a little bit, but I do like him as a horse. He's a really long, lengthening 7 furlong specialist. I like how he finishes his races. And then I back Pearls and Rubies in this as well. 2 runs on good to firm ground, beaten on the line in the Chesham, second to Port of Fortuna, Ascot form. I know she was last at the Curragh, but again, if the O'Brien horses are coming on for the run and River Tiber's 13-8, then Pearls and Rubies shouldn't be 66-1, should she? That seems absolutely daft to me. That fast ground form's absolutely bomb-proof. So, yeah. Any others at massive price you want to throw in quickly before we move on, Tom?
No, I didn't even know Pearls and Rubies was running. I've been so busy this week, I didn't even know she was running, Ross. But good spot. Yeah, she shouldn't be 66 to 1.
Yeah, she was the one. It's Win the Cheshire. She was the bedtime story of last year. Anyway, 13 to 8 River Tiber. John Hill.
Yeah, remember it was well back last year in the Coventry, wasn't it? I think it was one of the best backed horses of the meeting. Absolutely smashed up with some serious bets on River Tiber. So I think the lads, as they call them, really like this horse, and they'll be hoping for a big run from him. Probably the right time to mention that double that we've got, Continuous to win the Hardwicke early in the card, and River Tiber here. Both horses to win by more than 11. You can get 11 to 1 there. So the 13 to 8 is too skinny here, and you think Continuous is a little bit short as well. Both of those horses to win by more than 11, you can get 11 to 1 the double.
Okay, lovely stuff. Thank you very much. Let's have a quick look at the chat box, shall we? River Tiber will surely come on to beat Hartem. Tom Leach likes Native American. Cheeky Chappie's taking Hartem on, doesn't rate him at all. Duncan Evans thinks River Tiber wins this doing handstands. And Steve Haggart says Mum's Tipple. Who runs it next? So let's move on to the next, shall we? The Wokingham 6 furlong handicap here, of course. 28 runners here, and Mum's Tipple, they're just sneaking in at the bottom at 16 to 1. But at the top of the betting is Dark Trooper at 7 to 1. Again, another Wathnan horse. Albashire 8 to 1. Harry 3 8 to 1. St Lawrence 10 to 1. Apollo 1 12s. 5,000 to 1 is 12s. Rumstar 14s. The aforementioned Mum's Tipple is 16 to 1. And again, loads of other horses in here, including last year's favourite, in fact, Orazio. Desert Cop, who's got good form, and plenty others I'm sure we'll throw into the mix as well. But a big field sprint handicap, Mr. Paul Kealy is normally your go-to guy for that. But Dark Trooper, again, another, we saw the English Oak the other day, we came into it off the back of a win, didn't beat a great deal, but clearly had a lot more to offer and dotted up. Dark Trooper's a similar type, but on the upside, loves Ascot.
Yeah, loves Ascot as well. You can easily make the case for him. He's trained in France now, but he was very good before for Ed Walker. He was obviously very good with sprinters himself, and he likes fast ground as well. You can certainly make a case for him, but it's 7 to 1 the field for a reason. There's plenty you can make a case for. I back 2. I just found Harry 3 very, very interesting. Admittedly, he's halved in price since I sort of latched onto him. I think a lot of that money's come today. I don't know why. I don't know whether there's actually been money for him, or bookmakers are looking at Ryan Moore's rides and thinking, hang on a minute, we better get him down shorter a little bit. Yeah. So he was 4th last time to Rakia at Salisbury on his first run for 630 days. I thought he showed plenty there, being a bit keen, and like I said, it was a first run for an absolute age, and he was such a massive improver throughout 2022. When he won a big handicap at York, a listed race by 3.5 lengths at Deauville, and then ran in 2 Group 1s, and he didn't really cut the mustard there, but he's only beaten 4 lengths by Highfield Princess in the Maurice de Guiche, and then he went missing after finishing 6th in the Sprint Cup. So he's back now, and he's back with Ryan Moore, who was on him when he hosed up at York. It was on him again when he hosed up at Deauville, and they're the only 2 times he's ridden him. I had a look at his record for Clive Cox. 18 of his 38 rides have finished in the first 2, 13 winning. He's very much a go-to jockey then.
Well, I mean, he was on James's Delight, who won by half the track last week, wasn't he? At York?
Exactly. Yeah. So I think he's gonna run. I think he's gonna run very well. I also think Rumstar will run very, very well. They were my 2 against the field. He's trained by Jonathan Portman. He's got some good form in the book. He doesn't run very often on fast ground, or doesn't get proper fast ground very often. But, 3 runs on official good to firm ground, head second first time out, won a 16-runner handicap at Goodwood as a 2-year-old, and finished 5th for staying on 5th in the Commonwealth Cup last year. There was his 3 runs on GF, and people, like Time Form, etc. The Time boys were saying that Newbury on the 18th of May was fast ground as well, and he was second to Lethal Levi then. I thought he found the 6 furlongs at Newbury a little bit on the sharp side for him. He was, again, very strong at the finish, so I think he will run well. He's been higher in the ratings than 104 before, and I think everything is in place for him to run a big race. Okay, and the Dam Stellata won 4 times on the turf, and 3 of them on rattling fast ground. And also the fact that Swingalong was 1 place ahead of him is the same price for a Group 1 as he is for a handicap. Oh yeah, exactly.
So, he'd have to have a bit of a squeak. And Johnny Portman as well, one of the underrated trainers in the game for me. Mr. Segal, they never go off single figures, and he wins his fair share. Too tempting, one of those this year that's won a couple.
Yeah, obviously, perfectly good cases for them. When I did it anti-post a few weeks ago, and was on Dark Trooper and Albashire, who found themselves at the head of the market at double the prices. So I'm not too disappointed with their position now. For the race tomorrow, I had a very good look at Harry 3 and was going to select him until I looked on the Racing Post website and saw he'd halved in price. And so I thought, well, we'll leave him tomorrow. But he's got even shorter since. He's like 4 points shorter than when I was looking at him. So there we go. I don't know. He could easily bounce back. He's got Group 1 form, hasn't he, in this race? St. Lawrence won it last year. Apollo 1 always runs well in these races. Didn't really fancy 1,000 to 1 that much, but can see where they're coming from. Rumstar, yes. The one I ended up on was at a bigger price was Ferris for Jack Shannon, whose horses this year have been running out of their skins. Yeah. They ran a horse at Desperate Hero at Hamilton the other week. That is off the charts form. Everything that runs in that race keeps coming out and winning, and he won it by 5 lengths. That's not a group horse. Nothing is. Metal Merchant ran an absolute blinder from a tricky draw in the Hunt Cup the other day. I just thought Ferris was going to run a big race. He was on my shortlist for this when he won those 2 on the all-weather. And then last time he was behind Rumstar at Newbury and Lethal Levi. But it was that day when everything made the running. It was audience. It was elite status. It was Lethal Levi. He was held up. He did much the best of the held up horses. One slight niggly concern is whether he's going to be really strong at the finish of a 6 furlong race. But I think he'll be fine. Last year he ran in a handicap at Newmarket, and he was 2-1 favourite to beat Shaquille and Washington Heights and finished 3rd to them. So he's obviously always had talent, and he's always been highly regarded. I think this has been his plan all season long. I wouldn't be surprised if his last run at Newbury was a get-it-ready run for this after a few runs on the all-weather. So I could see Ferris going well at a big price, provided he's in the right place, of which I have no clue where it's going to be.
No, fair enough. Yeah, Jack Shannon. Mick Shannon was a good trader, obviously, but his percentage, it was running 400 times and will win some big races. But Jack Shannon is he's a different gear, isn't he? I mean, the place in the campaign, it's been fantastic. And I'd say that you're right about the Desperate Heroes. I mean, you've heard it here first, and let's forget it if it doesn't happen. But that'll win the Nunthorpe. That's what I think. I think that's a problem.
Soft ground, he's got a chance. If it's soft ground, he's got a chance.
He's an absolute monster. That I could not believe this. I had to do the speed figure 3 times. I thought my spreadsheet had exploded. But yeah, Ferris would have a chance, wouldn't he? This list loads, isn't there? Mum's Tipple, our old friend, Desert Cop as well. I mean, God knows what he was doing running over 7 furlongs the other day. The one I was quite interested in, Tom, which I think you might, or one of you definitely tipped this horse last year, was Juan Lapan, who was also in that Lethal Levi race. He was, that was definitely a get-it-ready run, I thought, last time.
There's plenty of them get-it-ready runs. St. Lawrence won the last race, and he's been getting ready ever since, isn't he? You know what I mean?
True. That is true.
So, Apollo 1 literally runs his race virtually every time.
Yeah, he does.
Brilliant horse, isn't he?
Yeah, he's an absolute cracking horse who deserves to win one, doesn't he?
Yeah. They should just run him in the group sprints, because he'll run the same race over and over again, I think. But I thought Juan Lapan, he was on the wrong. He was kind of isolated down the middle last year, and he will love this fast
Lethal Levi, who beat Rumstar last time out, he's drifting out to almost a tempting price now. I mean, I know he didn't run to his best in this race last year, having run really well the time before, but he did take a fairly hefty bump. And lost his position, and he did rally and get back again. So, if he gets to run of the race, he could be up there as well. And, again, it's that man Burke.
Absolutely. Okay. Hundreds of runners. Extra places, please, John, in the Wokingham.
Yeah, we certainly need them. This is a real race that the bookmakers love, isn't it? The Wokingham. And I'm sorry to say, Tom, I've had a few quid on Ferris each way myself. And again, speaking to David Robert this morning for his blog, the Shannon team really like this horse. They say he's a group horse in a handicap, and I'm sure there's a few trainers probably thinking about their horses here. But they're really sweet on him, so we won't be putting you off, Tom, backing this horse each way.
Okay, lovely stuff. I prefer to back handicappers in group races. That's more my that's more my angle. But thank you for that. That's the Wokingham. Robert Ballard likes Apollo 1, who was run a blinder in this last year. And Orazio, who again was favourite for this last year, and he's about 5 times the price. And Strike Red for Darren Walker, 2 bets to the Wokingham. Yeah, and Richard Fahey with a sprinter as well, not a bad angle. The Golden Gates Handicap up next then, a 3-year-old handicap here. 16 of them run on the round track over 10 furlongs, as we've seen. You don't want to be on that inside rail. But we've got Hand of God here, 11 to 4, who's drawn 17 of 16. So he's so well drawn on the outside. He's even drawn further than the number of runners. Old Faithful is 6 to 1 with Primo Lara. Approval 7 to 1. Portsmouth 9 to 1. Palace Green 10s. Dambuster 12s. Cambridge 14s, and bigger prices the rest. I'm actually going to come to Paul Kealy first here, because wouldn't it be hilarious, Keels, if Hand of God for Charlton and Buick in these silks absolutely dotted up.
Funny as hell, wouldn't it? Yeah.
After King's Gambit the other day.
And he could. Well, you know what I mean? There's no doubt about it. He could. He was going to be their London Gold Cup horse until King's Gambit came along and outshone him.
Yep.
But King's Gambit's a 116, 117 or something like that now. So yeah, Hand of God's running here off 91. He made the run in at Sandown last time. I thought it was a bit of a muddling race myself, but he got the job done. He's on a hat trick. It looks like he'll stay further. Plenty to like about him, apart from the price. It's just too short, isn't it? I mean, surely it is just too short.
Not too many in here, though. I didn't think.
I don't know. I thought it was quite a deep race. I'm absolutely convinced for a start that Portsmouth is well handicapped. Now, he ran behind London Gold Cup winner Persica at Epsom last time, and I don't think he quite got the run of the race. Persica ended up winning it quite easily, to be fair, but I think he's got more to come. But he's got stall 3, so I jumped off him. And I started looking, and I thought, I'm going to give Arabic Legend a chance at a massive price for that man Burke again. His 4th at Epsom in the Epsom Derby trial is a pretty decent piece of horse. Bellum Justum was 3rd to whatever beat King's Gambit and King's Gambit in the Hampton Court.
JRB,
that was it. Chief Little Rock won the Gallignol Stakes. He was 3rd, and Arabic Legend was a couple of lengths behind. He got stopped on the rail a little bit. He was probably even 11th or so better than that, no more. But I thought it was a perfectly decent run, and then he's just way too keen and didn't stay in the Derby trial behind Ambient Friendly at Lingfield. Now he drops back in both class and trip. To 1 mile 2 furlong. He's by Dubawi, has a near 25% strike rate at Ascot between 10 and 12 furlongs. Dubawi, massive profits. I just thought he'd run well.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, Arabic Legend then.
And he's got 15, still 15.
Yes, exactly, yeah. So he'll be out of the mess on the inside. That's it. I mean, the draw can be navigated, as we've seen.
Yeah,
with a couple this week, Tom. But I think if you're going to be backing one on that inside, you basically want to be getting a price, don't you? You want to be getting a bit of extra bang for your buck.
Absolutely right. Yeah, Colin Keane was brilliant, wasn't he, on the horse today? Crystal Black. Yeah, he was superb, wasn't he? He was drawn right now on the inside, got him to the outside. Luke Morris, as we said earlier in the week, did a very good job on Pledge of Allegiance. I know that's not that big a draw race at the start of the week, but he did a very good job avoiding traffic problems and getting him to the outside from stall 1, so it's not ideal, but it's not insurmountable, that's for sure. Hand of God's just exactly the same as all the others we've been talking about this week, isn't it? Quite prepared to see him win, quite prepared to see Ethical Diamond win, quite prepared to see King's Gambit win. None of them have. So I just can't back a horse like that in a race like this at 11 to 4. He could be £10 well in, of course he could, but that doesn't mean he's going to win, because loads of things happen in these races that mean he might not. Primo Lara is definitely interesting, and of all the ones that I've seen recently, I thought Approval win at Windsor was very eye-catching as well. Time was excellent. If he can get a good spot from his inside draw, that would be a big help to him. I quite like him. Dan Buster might like fast ground. He's by Kingman. He's been running on soft ground all his life. He beat Go Daddy on his debut at Sandown last year, and Go Daddy ran a blinder from a bad draw in that 1.5 mile handicap earlier in the week. Cambridge has got good form. In the end, I ended up taking a massive flyer on one of the huge price from stall 19 in a 16-runner race, Ross. Whiskey Pete. for Rafe Beckett, who has had a tremendous run with his 3-year-olds this week. It's his only runner. He's owned by some very shrewd guys. Whiskey Pete, he's a half-brother to Candleford and Atty Purse, who have both won handicaps at this meeting on fast ground. He was ridiculously bad at York and was pulled up and didn't even finish on his comeback. He was a little bit better, not much, at Epsom last time in the Persica race, but he was drawn badly that time and sort of got stuck in the middle. And I'm just hoping that this has been the plan all along. It might not have been. He might be no good. His 2-year-old form last year suggested he's sort of the same sort of horse as Dan Buster, maybe a bit better. But I think it's Rafe Beckett from a good draw with a horse that's bred to love Ascot, love fast ground, could take off on the fast ground. So at 33 to 1, 25 to 1, I'm going to throw a few kid at Whiskey Pete.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that actually, because I remember. Yeah, it's another proper Ascot family, isn't it? The damn Dorcas Lane was third in the Ribblesdale as well on fast ground. So yeah, it's a proper Ascot family. Beckett, Crouch, yeah, like you said, drawn as wide as equinely possible. Got to have a chance, isn't it? 2 more things also before I hand over to John is one, the only thing with Hand of God is, yeah, it's 11 to 4, but you're asked about King's Gambit, you ask back a handicapper in a group race at 7 to 4. And if you think this is a group horse in a handicap, he's 11 to 4. So, he's a much, much better price compared to King's Gambit. And the other one, I've been waiting for Cambridge to run on fast ground since he rattled home at Salisbury last year, and he hasn't done it yet. He's finished 4th behind Heartem, 4th behind Economics. If Ryan Moore was on him, he'd be 6 to 1. Ryan Moore's on the other one, that's 6 to 1. John Hill.
Yeah, I must mention the places here. We're going 5 places, so we're giving you an extra place. And the Wokingham, 6 places on that last race there. And you'll need all 6 in that one, won't you? But yeah, Hand of God, popular favourite. It was 7 to 2 when we opened up. We've already seen lots of support for him. I'll mention that special as well on Ryan Moore to have 3 winners today. He's on board Old Faithful here. That's available, don't forget, 100 to 30 from 11 to 4. And one we haven't mentioned yet is the former champion jockey Oisin Murphy to have a winner on the card. That was 4 to 5. We're pushing that out to 11 to 10, and he's on board Palace Green here for Richard Hughes.
Okay. Thank you very much. Last race then is, as ever, the Queen Alexandra Stakes. Let's rattle through this. I mean, most people, think, oh, we don't really watch that race. I know that given the kind of human that Tom Segal is, that he's going to say this is the best race of the week. Queenstown is 3 to 1. Dawn Rise at 130. Run for Oscar 11 to 2. Uxmal 8 to 1. Trushan 17 to 2. Tashkad 17 to 2. Postileo 10 to 1 and 14 to 1 and bar those. On paper, you look at the lineup, and I do feel it's a bit like one of those virtual races you get in the betting shops, which are all from. Imagine if all these horses ran in the same race together. They never will, but they are. But it's Queenstown who has the betting at 3 to 1. Dawn Rising at 130. And if I remember rightly, I had a right or bet on Run for Oscar in this last year. And did he get stopped 14 times in the home straight?
Well, he got the worst ride of any horse at Royal Ascot last year, didn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, how you can run let's not forget a 9-runner Queen Alexandra.
Yeah.
When 2/3 of the field are beaten at halfway and still can't manage to get a run. I mean, he should have won after track, shouldn't he? I'm hoping that he will make amends. This will have been the plan for the last 12 months, wasn't it? I mean, it's not like he doesn't have bad flat form elsewhere, didn't he? He was third in the Cadran after that, but I mean, this will have been the plan. When he won the Cez a couple of years ago, he was in front more than a furlong out, so it's not like he needs to be dropped on the line. I'm pretty sure Charles Burns would have told new rider Maxime Guillon not to go up the inside rail. I mean, the need for it in a race of this length is just baffling. So, yeah, all roads point to him, I think, because he would have won it easy. He's a bigger price than Dawn Rising, who's got the penalty as well. Hopefully he's still got the same form, and he was fairly eye-catching in his last run. Over a trip way too short. Yeah. It's all about him for me. I think he will go very close.
Okay, I don't think I've ever seen a Charles Burns horse run and not be eye-catching mine.
That's fair enough.
Tom, see us out with your favourite race of the week.
My very favourite race, not only of the week, of the millennium. Absolutely can't wait for the Queen Alexandra.
I can't wait for them to say horses away for the last race of this meeting, that's for sure.
I probably will be down sinking a couple of pints in a darkened room at this time, thinking about never having to do a Royal Ascot again, hopefully. But there we go. Queenstown I didn't fancy. It's priced up on the old Kyprios form, but Kyprios was just mucking about, wasn't it? Dawn Rising I didn't fancy. Dylan Brown McGonigal didn't obviously want to ride him. Run for Oscar's clearly got a good chance. I ended up on Uxmal. He was a little bit bigger price. The form in France is very, very strong, actually. The winner went on to run some really good races in top company over in Saudi Arabia and places like that. The third is Keys Chorister, who we know how good she is until she went completely ballistic in the Gold Cup this week. So I just thought Uxmal, he's by Galileo. He's been trained for the race. It's just a sort of race Joseph O'Brien does well in. And he won it last year with Dawn Rising. I thought with Dylan Brown McGonigal on, I would go for Uxmal over Run for Oscar, but I get Ashkan can go well too. I know everyone says he wants soft ground, but he's actually the best RPR, I think, came in the Gold Cup on fast ground, so he's not out of it. And who knows what Postilio's going to do.
Can I just say, by the way, round of applause there, Tom, for making up a case for Uxmal, because we know the reason you've tipped him is because he's an anagram of Lummox. Look at that. He's a Lumax.
I hope he's not a Lummox.
Well, no, he's an Uxmal.
He's done well this week. Illinois went in, didn't he? A few of them have gone in recently.
They have.
I'm hoping he's a Lummox.
I'm going to get some T-shirts printed saying I'm with the Lummoxes or Club Lummox or Team Lummox or something. But anyway, John Hill, final race of Royal Ascot.
Yeah, it's Dawn Rising for me. Obviously, proven stamina winning this race last year, and he's had a similar prep coming into this, hasn't he? So he'll be the one for me. But it's probably not a race I'll have any kind of involvement in. I think at this point, like the lads, I'll just be waving goodbye to the meeting.
Okay, fair enough. Hopefully with a smile on your face and a drink in your hand. Anyway, that's the previews of the races. We'll get the naps in a second. But first, here's an advert.
Here they come, racing lovers of the UK in the Coral Fat Derby. Ladies' Day ladies leading the Tracky Brigade. Top Hat and Tails overtaking the country gentry. Tweed surely chafing. On the outside, Maggie and her cuppa. Into the home straight, it's Danny's Stag Do clawing their way up the field. Nan's got the experience, but does she have the legs? But it's the bloke who doesn't know which horse is his. He's won it, and he doesn't even know it. It's the fans that make racing what it is. Coral, we're here for it.
Okay, right. Naps then on the final day of Royal Ascot 2024. Mr. Paul Kealy, what's it going to be?
I am going to wait till the very, very last race and go for Run for Oscar to right last season's wrong.
Okay, there you go. 12 months in the making. Tom Segal.
My nap. Good question. I hadn't really thought of that. I will go for Candleford. I'll take a chance on Candleford that Continuous isn't quite at its best.
Okay, very well. John?
Well, I believe Believing's going to go 3 places better than Tuesday in the Queen Elizabeth II Jubilee Stakes.
Okay, thank you very much. I think the Hand of God is genuinely, I do think he will win the Golden Gates handicap. But let's go Pearls and Rubies. 66-1 winning nap. If that goes in again, when's the next show? The Eclipse. Back for the Coral Eclipse, and I'll make sure I've spent the winnings by then. But anyway, thank you for joining us, everyone. If you haven't already, like the stream. We hope you've had an enjoyable week, and if you didn't back any winners, we hope you enjoyed the shows and the racing, because it's all supposed to be fun, isn't it? See you next time.